All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast. Now, the Charlotte Hornets came into this NBA season knowing that they needed to get better at the defensive end of the floor in order for them to take the next step as a team. Last year, the Hornets were 25th in the NBA in points per game allowed at just under 115 per contest. And Charlotte's lack of defense showed up at the most inopportune time as they would surrender 132 points in a play-in tournament loss last spring to the Atlanta Hawks. This marked the second consecutive year that the Hornets were done in by their defense in the play-in tournament. As you go back to 2021, and they gave up 144 points to the Indiana Pacers. This year, the Hornets are going to be hard pressed to even make the play-in tournament at this point. You're talking about a team whose record is 11 and 31, and it's only outdone by the Detroit Pistons for the worst mark in the Eastern Conference. Coming into play today, Charlotte is 8.5 games behind the Chicago Bulls for the final playoff spot in or the play-in tournament spot rather in the East, and it does not look good for their chances trying to make up some ground. Now, the injuries to LaMelo Ball have really hindered this team from the word go. He was out to begin the year. He's missed 24 games overall, and you think about LaMelo Ball when he's healthy, and obviously he's getting it back now. One of the youngest and most dynamic scorers in the NBA. But even with all of that said, it's about the lack of effort at the defensive end that is hurting Charlotte. This season, the Hornets are 28th in the NBA in points allowed, as only the Pistons and San Antonio Spurs are giving up more points per game than them. Opponents are making just about 48% of their field goals against Charlotte, which is tied for 23rd in the NBA. Hornet opponents are averaging, snagging nearly 36 rebounds against them on the defensive end. It's something where, it like those are possession killers right there. You got to go out there and, seal the deal on both ends of the court on the boards, and they are just not doing it. You think about it so far this game, 4 games this season for Charlotte where they've lost by at least 20 points, 9 games, not counting overtime games, where they've given up at least 125 points. That's not going to get it done. I know this is the second time around for Steve Clifford as the head coach in Charlotte, and it's not getting any better. Earlier this season, Clifford talked about the need for the Hornets to get better defensively, but actions, of course, speak louder than words. Defensive basketball is a mindset at any level. And right now, Charlotte just has too many guys that are worried about putting up their offensive stats. No guys are willing to sit in that chair, quote unquote, play that perimeter D, play that interior D to go out there and get the job done and not just do it on one or two possessions. You have to do it consistently. Defensive basketball is just something that you can't just flip a switch on and allow it to click. And this is something right now that is really hindering this team, even offensively. You look at the Hornets play, and it's like, what flow do they have? What system are they running? It's just basically five guys out there on the court just going for theirs. And at the end of the day, that is not the recipe for winning basketball. The Hornets, in my opinion, are like most NBA teams right now, which is 3-point shots or bust. And the thing is like, that's not effective. You think about it, everybody's trying to be what the Warriors were a couple of years ago. And guess what? What the Warriors were a couple of years ago is not effective for them right now either. And you think about the Hornets, I'm talking about them taking up all these 3-point shots. Right now, they are last in the NBA in 3-point field goal percentage, just under 33% per game as far as the threes that they're making. Now, of course, with all of that said, the Hornets have their work cut out for them, but will they improve this season? And do they have enough to make a playoff run? Offensively, maybe, but again, the defensive end of the court is going to hinder them. And I look at this upcoming schedule for Charlotte tomorrow night. on the road in Toronto. And going north of the border is never easy for teams. Consecutive games at home over the weekend against the Boston Celtics. They got to try to find a way to win at least one of those games. Easier said than done. And then we're talking about a 4-game road set on the road against an improving Houston Rockets team. They're on the road against the Atlanta Hawks, on the road for the Utah Jazz, and on the road for the Phoenix Suns. So I look at it like this. This was a lost season from the word go from the Hornets. And I think not having LaMelo Ball to begin this campaign really hurt them. And then their inefficiencies or deficiencies, rather, at the defensive end of the floor are not helping either. This is one of those things, and I think this is the scent, if you will, of a bad franchise because you see a team that is making some strides, and instead of them building off of that, they take several steps back and then they have to find a way to recover. I look at it like this: the last couple of years, the Hornets were on the cusp of breaking through to the playoffs. You look at it; they won 33 games in 2021, won 43 games last year. And for the most part, over the last couple of years, they improved their win total each year under former head coach James Borrego, who was let go. But their issues at the defensive end of the floor are what partially led to his departure in Charlotte. Now you bring back Steve Clifford, and it has not gotten any better. This team has simply taken a step back. Too much individual basketball, not enough team basketball. And when it's all said and done, the Hornets are staring at their first 50-loss season since 2013. You got to get together as a team. You got to play better defense. And until the Hornets do that, excuse me, and stop focusing on the individual aspect, they can be better. But until then, the struggles will continue in Charlotte. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out now to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to subscribe. Or pardon me, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.